All right, here we go. The garage door is only open a crack, really. I hope that plane isn't too bad. I want to open more for better air, but man, damn planes are just so freaking loud. All right, wand 3, video 4. Video 3 is literally uploading right now. I forgot to upload it, and then I remember doing it, but I just forgot I hadn't uploaded. So not terribly helpful, but we're taking care of that, right? So today we got our favorite problem child back. We can see this is more for me since you would have gone to video 3 and had seen all of that. So so we're kind of going to go the sea serpent route if we can, or something resembling that. You got the 3 kind of humps, almost like the sorry, I'm waiting for the groceries to get back. The 3 humps, almost like the Loch Ness Monster coming out of the water, just a little bit more subdued than that. I need to make sure I can even see that. Okay, so we kind of know what we want to do with this, sort of. I hope it's going to work. I mean, it kind of fought us the whole way to get here, and I'm not sure how much I'm going to indent these. So I didn't want to start making all sorts of plans again without being recorded, because that's less of an honest reaction, isn't it? But I think I'm going to have to kind of take the sides in a little bit, because it'll accent the humps here a bit that are coming in. But I don't want it too much, or it's just going to look like a bony finger. And that isn't the goal in this case. So gentle. So let's just go ahead and start marking those. Just a tad. A lot more of this side's coming off. This one isn't bad. I'll take a little bit more of this off, because that's about the depth difference I want, almost. To match, just a little bit. And sometimes I'll draw really hard, deep lines to remind myself that more is going to get taken off there than, and that's okay if I do that. So, all right, first let's take a look, see how we're going to hold it. So this will have to come down to here for sure for the visual representation, but this maybe, let's mostly just make it even if somebody's looking at it like this, even though it kind of twists like this. So, okay. This probably needs to come down here. Got some markings on there, but I'll just reinforce that. I'm not sure how much of this I want to take down. This kind of almost looks like there's a little bit of a lump right here, bit of a hump on the hump, and I would want this to be smooth and kind of even. I mean, there's plenty of time for that. It's not like it's almost at the finishing stages. So now the neck here, I will probably take this down a little bit, just about right there, because it's kind of look a little bit like jowls, right? Where the jawline is, sort of thing. See what I'm saying? All right, we've got the head, forehead ridge, if you want to call it that. I know, real technical term there. Not sure if I would want this to come out like this or to come down like this. If I'm looking at the end here, which is always a consideration with wood and Hawaii, if I take it straight down like this, I'm not going to run into problems, and it doesn't look like I'll really run into problems if I decide to split it like a V here instead. But I have to make a choice on which way I want to go with that, and being me, I'm pretty much going to wait to make that choice, because that'll take a saw. I'm not going to do that with the chisel. We'll just saw it down here, and I can do that. I have the hand saws for it, the pull saws for it. But I would probably want to strap it down to something for my own personal safety and to help make the cut as not necessarily level, like level to the ground, but level to the jaw, right? so it doesn't move around quite as much. Which is going to be a possibility after Tuesday. Our stuff gets here on Tuesday. It's going to take us probably a week, really, to get stuff unpacked. So, all right, I've talked enough. Let's go ahead and remove some wood, right? Oh man, look at the rust on that thing. It's crazy, isn't it? All right. So, I mean, I really would like some really nice chisels, but I'm just afraid that I'll get ruined. And I have, sorry, last time I was here, I was oiling up some of my, I did buy a couple of new chisels and I was oiling them up, and it didn't really make much difference, to be honest. And then I was transferring the oil onto the wood, which isn't necessarily a concern if you're going to use some spirits on it afterwards, actually demethylated spirits, like you would use to remove varnish, things like that from your hands, tools, stickiness, that sort of thing. But I usually don't do that with these tools because that would leave a stain mark that would then have to come off, and that's not my idea of a good time. Man, it makes me nervous going towards my hand like that, you know. All right, that should be good there for initial. Don't like doing it that way, but okay. All right. Not sure what this wood coloration here is for. It looks like it's okay. It's just natural wood stuff, but sometimes it means decay. But this wood seems awfully solid for it to be that way. But it's something to think about. Okay. All right, not removing much this time around. Like I've said in other videos, but just in case you haven't seen it, we're getting the overall shape here, so when we do area reductions to get the more of the final shape going on, there's less for us to have to do. And it's all more evenly done. Okay. Right. Almost around with this done. Almost done with this round of changes. Almost changed with this round of dones. All right. I know the way I'm scraping some of these or cutting some of these are not the most efficient ways, but that's actually on purpose. Partially because this wood just works so differently because of all the different grains going on and seemingly just about everywhere, that I'm actually afraid that if I hit a patch that does work well, that I'm going to take way too much off. So I do realize that the angles that I'm using, the ways that I'm holding it are inefficient, and it's on purpose. So. part of that so that I can't apply power, too much power to those areas. And the other parts, just in case I find a weak spot in the wood, I've talked about in the past, that it should help me see it earlier and stop it before it kind of ruins the rest. You know what I mean? So this area is actually working pretty well, considering how the rest hasn't. So just go ahead and take off some here, even though there's no red markings. Let's see. Alright, there won't be many videos tomorrow, if any, at least with regards to wands, because we're going to be hiking tomorrow, going back to a place we haven't been in it's been about 4 years, I think. A family member of ours that visited said they found some stairs in an area. Some of these hikes are, the trail is there because people used to live in like single-story dwellings and, you know, shacks really. This thing's come down a little bit. So we're gonna go back to that area to see if we can't find them, and hope that it's not too wet. As I live in the dry part of the island, I know I say that all the time, but it matters. And the area we're going to gets a lot of rain, and so much so that they've actually developed 2 different trail approaches, because one you can use when one's best when it's dry, and the other one's, see, got some tear out going on, and the other's best when it's wet. But there are a lot of the trails here in Hawaii, when they start snaking around ridge lines and stuff like that, there's only one path, and it's pretty thin. It's not very wide. In fact, sometimes there's literally only room for your shoes. So when it's a situation like that and a bunch of gravel, you better be careful. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, let's take a look. Not bad, not tragically different than what we had before. I think I'm probably going to run a file over this though, to give me a better idea what I'm looking at, and because there are a lot of these ridges here that I'm going to get caught on with the chisel, and I kind of want to smooth some of those out. You can see those here where there doesn't seem to be a good side to woodwork on. What do we got? 13 minutes. Yeah, we'll get some of that in here. This I gotta be careful here. If you can see that or not, but there's a little bit of a layer in here. There's a ledge where this is split out, so I'll have to keep an eye on this, because I don't think it looks like it's going to get soft on me under there. But I should, you know what? I'm probably just going to go ahead and split that and see it, because we've got indications of it here too. It's going to continue. It's probably from the same run. So let's just go ahead and do that, so I have a better idea what I'm looking at. I mean, it's not going to give me a great point of view, a vantage point to look at it from. So let's just go ahead and do that, and then we can clean the sides up and kind of take a look, because I think it'll be okay. Let me see, splitting. But anytime you have layers like that, you gotta be careful, because you don't know how solid they are to each other. And sometimes you just literally get lips in there where there's just a little gap. Now, if somebody were finishing the wand, then that could get filled just with sawdust and stuff like that, or wood filler, but that's not something that I'm going to do, because it's not my wand. Well, I mean, right now it's my wand, but it wouldn't be then. Unless they asked me to. If they asked me to, I would. And I would try to color match, but it's probably not going to happen. I mean, if you look at all the different colors in there, there's no, you're not going to match that, right? So it would be visible. Now, what they could do with that, though, is they could just paint it. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to be painting this wand, so You know, this wand, if it doesn't turn out, like something chips out horribly or breaks off, I could use this actually for burning practice. I do have a wood burning pen, and it might be a good way to practice my putting scales on things like this. Yeah, so because I'm going to be doing that dance where I want to finish and refine the wood to an extent. Excuse the coarser file. To an extent. But some things, it's going to be pretty obvious that's what it is. And it would work if it was a dragon. It would work if it was a serpent. I'm sure there are some serpentine loving people, some dragon lovers out there that are probably upset that I'm as ambivalent about using those terms together, but you know, I'm sure there are lots of ways I could offend them. I mean, it's pretty easy for someone like me to do it all the time. Oh shit, no wonder it's so dark in here. All right. Like, man, why is it so dark in here? I was looking for these rougher areas right here that half the reason why I want to use a file on it. Not bad. This hard edge here I'm kind of nervous about when I get to this area, so I'll probably switch files. This one's not nearly as coarse as this one is. Well, I say it's not nearly, but it's still pretty coarse, but it's not quite as coarse, and I'm afraid that this edge here is going to get caught here like that, and I'll have to be careful. Now, a really good use case for using that file, even though it's not quite as coarse, is these humps here, because it's a little bit easier for this curved file to get into these curved areas, right? Okay, so this area is obviously going to flake out and flip off. So this might, let me try and get a better view for you. So this area right here, you can see right where this chisel is ending, you can see that there's prying up a little bit. You can see it move. So that area is kind of pretty separated. So I may end up having problems with this area all throughout the rest of the shaping. And if I were to glue it slightly, you know what I mean? If I were to take like just a little dab of glue and get it underneath there, if I had a super thin applicator, then that would work harder on my tools and would honestly make me want to use just a disposable sanding drum for like a Dremel or something like that. I have a Dremel. Well, it'll be here somewhere in some box on Tuesday. But I like to do these by hand, and so obviously I'm not doing this for the money. If you've heard about my pricing scheme that I plan on implementing, last time I just gave them all away, but that family is now in Texas somewhere. I think they're in Texas. I don't know, they aren't here. So, which she was a witch. I found that out, and she found out that I was too, but it was a little bit too late. We weren't gone. We were gone before that relationship could deepen. So, but I think she was a love and lighter, and I'm not a love and lighter, even though I do a lot of work that's pretty similar to love and lighters. Not my culture. I say it like it's a homogenous thing. It's not a homogenous thing. But I guess that's no different than people saying, "Oh, I don't do left-hand pathers because they're all Satanists and this and that." And that's not necessarily true, actually, at all. Yeah, a lot of them gravitate towards that. It's mostly about the meaning of it. There are still some Hindu sects that are left-hand path, and they obviously aren't Satanists. Well, unless you're a Christian, then everything's a Satanist. I feel sorry for those people. I should probably clarify that. I feel sorry for those people because they don't know that they can't differentiate between them. So, I have some family like that. So they don't know what I do. All right. Here we go. Overall, I'm actually, this is probably a longer video now, isn't it? Yeah, 21, yeah, 22 minutes, yeah, we're good. I'm actually pretty pleased so far. The areas are cleaning up pretty easy. They're responding better to the file than they do the chisel, that's for sure. But I still would not use a file for shaping this work, that's for sure. And even then, when I'm looking at this and I can see it's smoothing some stuff out, it's not what you're seeing isn't completely true. It's not the truth, and that's because one of the reasons why I can sand this and sand this and sand this, and it feels smooth as silk. But as soon as I run it underneath the water, the sand gets pushed out of the pores. The sanded wood gets pushed out of the pores, and it's rough again. And it's kind of like it's a process here. Most of the wood here has some very heavy pores, like holds a lot. So what you see is not necessarily what you get. Damn it! Sorry, there's a bug there. Yeah, anytime I see a bug in here, I have to look to make sure it's not a termite, you know? Because you can't get any wood from the lumber store, really, that hasn't been treated for termites because they're so bad. I mean, there's no cold spell to kill them, like mosquitoes. So, and that was, I looked into getting some wood from the lumber store just to start making wands in general before I went the driftwood route, and everything's been treated so much I'm afraid to inhale any of the dust. So that lip is going to bother me. I can feel it with just running my hand over it. It's disappointing, but we'll have to see. It's not lost. Oh shit, I totally missed this area. Pretty pleased. The overall shape seems legit. The wood's responding well to the file. Those areas where it's like here, where it's kind of hard on the chisel to get it done. So that's good. As we showed in think the first wand video, the area that just kind of kept getting roughed up by the file and wouldn't smooth out at all. I don't see any of that here, which, I mean, we don't have any evidence of that anywhere else, but still. All right, so we still have the basic shape going on here. So what are we gonna do next video? We'll probably take down some of this, just smooth this. We want this hump, but we want it to kind of smooth in here so it makes it look like it has a flexible neck, even though we're not showing that it has a flexible neck. I really wish this was a little bit longer, to be honest with you. I'd rather have a short, medium, and long, but that, you know, that's not what I'm working with, right? I suppose I could have done it all the way down to here, but then it would have made it look like I had 2 humps here. So, you know. So I'll take some more of this down. And we want to smooth this out just a little bit more. So just some light lines there. To make that neck look just a little bit more pronounced. Here we want to take in some of this so it has more of like a V-shaped head, but that means we got to get into this. Ah, shit. Okay. I mean, it is what it is. We got to deal with it at some point. Talked about the thinning here. Just a little bit more. A little bit more here. Just a little bit here. And then we'll do the corresponding areas next to them to some extent. Go. Not all the way up into here though, because I want to leave some of that. We already talked about getting into that. This is going to be a little landmine here, but that's the way that rolls. Probably shape this down a little bit so it matches this a little more. I don't think I really need to do that here, but maybe a little bit there. Okay, so this doesn't match. I don't think it's going to be honest with you. So look at it from this angle. Say this needs to come down a little bit. It's a little bit too pronounced. Bring this in a little bit. Bring this in a little bit here, so that way it shapes the way the eye looks at it. Take a little bit more of that down, since I can see it kind of jutting out here from this angle. This may be a little bit. More of that. Okay. All right. That's probably where we'll go with it just next time. Not right now. If that other video is uploaded, then I will go ahead and start transferring, uploading this one to in planes. And go from there, because I am waiting on the groceries to get here. And I don't want to have to stop the video for that, because if I stop the video I have to cobble it together, and that takes a lot longer than me pulling it off the GoPro and then uploading it directly to YouTube without having to edit and splice and all that other stuff. Okay, there we go. We know our next steps.